So briefly on BNP, we have a turnover of about 110 million euros. The big news this year was obviously the purchase of Stratton Parker, which has really pushed the UK to a top 4 position. We're market leaders in France and Germany and have offices all throughout Europe. My job is head of the International Investment Group, so I work with global investors coming into Europe, and we have offices throughout Europe and also in Hong Kong and Dubai. So just to quickly talk about the economy, first of all, I think first time almost in the last 50 years that we've seen all the large economies expanding at the same time. So we've got very strong GDP growth in the large European markets, and that's really helped obviously the global investors who are very much looking at Europe. In terms of volumes, we see the pretty surprising actually volume in the UK, up over almost 25%, and we'll probably talk about some of the large deals, especially from the Chinese investors in the London market. France investment volumes dipped, but more through lack of product than actual lack of demand. And German and other European markets were really very strong again last year. Yield levels have come down to levels that we've never seen before, and I think maybe that's probably going to be a question, and I'm sure there's been a lot of questions throughout MIPIM, how sustainable they are, what's going to happen with potential rises in interest rates, but that really has not really stopped investors looking at the really big markets. I think Berlin really stands out there, 114% increase in investment volume, some huge deals in that market this year. And, you know, despite the low yield levels, we've seen strong rental growth. Again, Berlin at the top of the line there, and pretty much all the European markets, potentially with the exception of London, but even London, despite Brexit feels, the market has stayed reasonably stable, but some good rental growth throughout the markets. So this is probably the most interesting slide, I'd say, on our topic today, capital flows. Where has the capital come from into Europe? It really, as I think the big mark is Asia, 95% increase in investment volumes. I think especially the big CIC Logical deal really pushed that, but also the two big deals in London, the walkie-talkie and the cheese grater. And we'll go back to, I'm sure we'll talk more about what the Asian investment. European investment, so investors, domestic investors have been very strong, and the French and the German investors have really dominated the European markets. US has remained stable despite really what's happened with the yields, and Middle East, and despite geopolitical problems, still an increase in investment there. So in terms of going down in a bit more detail, as I mentioned, European investors strong, especially in German, the Nordics, and the UK. The US still healthy investment volumes in the big markets too. Asia and Pacific, and we'll come back more to this. And as you see, the huge amount of investment in London with those notably two very large deals. And Middle East, despite, as I say, tensions, it's remained stable, and you're still seeing Middle Eastern investors throughout Europe. Mainly dominated by the office sector, and also some domestic investors. So I think that's pretty much it from my bit, and then off you go with some questions.